Namaskar. This is a short discourse about focusing on the oneness instead of the duality. A thing that appears beautiful today is not necessarily beautiful tomorrow. A cake that is delicious today will not be fit for eating after a few days. Indeed, one cannot even be certain that the shape of the cake will still be intact. Every object is in a state of change, and that is why the pleasure received from objects cannot last permanently. So what should a sadhaka, a spiritual aspirant, do? He or she must assign divinity to every object. Everything is the manifestation of God. Whether it is land, home, river, mountain, respect, insult, day or night, everything is He, and His manifestation as an object. Make proper use of all objects, thinking that they are His gifts to us. To enjoy or suffer anything is to enjoy or suffer the Supreme Consciousness. Avoid the attraction of the limited object and make contact with the integral whole. When you are able to live this way, the desire to steal the property of others will completely disappear. In Ananda Marga, there is a special process through which one can dedicate everything to God. The assignment of divinity to objects means the pursuit of the infinite, leaving the finite behind. Are you feeding your son? No. You are feeding the sun-like manifestation of Brahma. Are you plowing the field? No. You are serving the finite manifestation of Brahma with your plow. Really speaking, the assignment of divinity to objects bypasses their material enjoyment, as the objects then merge in the non-material Supreme Brahma. Thus, the mind of one who has established him or herself in real vairagya, enjoying God instead of objects, can never become attached to finite objects. Even in the midst of objects, he or she remains beyond the reach of their attraction and gains eternal peace after death. So I look for a discourse that was related to a thought that is coming in my mind recently. And this discourse says that in reality there is only one entity. There is no you or me, he or she. There is only the Supreme Consciousness. And we are all looking for happiness. And that happiness has to be something, well, here, as it says in this discourse, there is no permanent happiness in things that are constantly changing, right? A cake which is delicious today will not be fit for eating after a few days. Something that is beautiful today. So we can get temporary happiness at best and limited happiness at best from the objects of the world. But we are looking for absolute and permanent happiness. And so what it's suggesting here is that you will find that absolute and permanent happiness if you remind yourself that there is only one entity. So what you are looking for, you are what you are looking for, right? Everything is here. The world is God. There is no world, there is only God. There is not your son, there is God. There is not your land, there is God. And if you consistently think deeply about that, it's something that we have to work with and experiment with, right? I like this phrase, I am not a person, right? Because when I think of myself as a person, I think of myself as separate. As long as I am separate and incomplete, absolute happiness is impossible. If you are looking for God as some object amidst 1,000 other objects, you will never find it. But if you realize that everything is divine, your mind is divine, your body is divine, the world is divine, there is only divinity, nothing else, then the mind comes to a stability, a stillness. Because when I'm looking for an object, where is it, right? It's not here, it's not there. Where is it? But if it is everywhere, and if I am also it, then there is no need to search. I am it, right? So the phrase that has been coming in my mind is, instead of searching, remember. There is no need to search, but there is a need to remember, right? So you can only search when there is duality, right? Hundreds of objects, and I search for some object amidst those hundreds of objects. But when there is no duality, there is only the divine. Everything, me, I am, what in another discourse Baba says, the concept of he or she disappears, of you or he disappears. I exist, you exist. There remains only existence. So if you can keep remembering this idea, not searching, remembering the non-duality, remembering that every thought you think is God, every object you see is God, everything is me, right? The words are interchangeable. When there is no duality, everything, it doesn't matter whether you say everything is God or everything is me or everything is love. There's only one thing, right? And then the mind becomes still, because it can only move around when it's looking for something that isn't there. If I like something, I move towards it. If I don't like something, I move away from it. But when all the somethings are one thing, the mind becomes still. So this, I am not a person. I am Brahma, or everything is Brahma. Sometimes a philosophical term like that is a little bit difficult to really connect with. So what do we mean by Brahma? Sri Sri Anandamurti explains it as Brahma is the combination of the witnessing nucleus, right? The witnessing consciousness. But it's not just that. It's the combination of the witnessing consciousness and the imagination. So the universe. What is the universe? The universe is the imagined object of the divine. So you have the divine consciousness, and you have the universe, which the divine consciousness is imagining, which is his own imagination, right? So the combination of the witness and the object being witness, his own internal imagination, that is Brahma, right? The word Purushottama means just the witnessing consciousness, but Purushottama plus Purushottama's imagination, that is Brahma. So when we say, I am Brahma, what does that mean? It means I am the conscious universe, right? The witnessing consciousness of the entire universe and that universe itself. So when you think, I am not a person, I am Brahma, what does that mean? I am the entire conscious universe. All this is me, right? That's what that phrase means. I am the conscious universe. I am not a person. And training ourselves, regularly reminding, constantly reminding. If you don't remind, you go back into thinking, I am a person. You become limited, you become dualistic, you become separate, and you become unhappy because you are incomplete, and we are searching for absolute happiness. Right? I am the conscious universe. I am Brahma. So that's the phrase that came in my mind. instead of searching, remember. Right? Remember that you are not a person. You are the divine. There are no people. There is only the divine. I think it's a good thing to start with yourself and with people, because these are if you can handle seeing all people as God, the rest of it will be easy. Most of our attractions and most of our difficulties and clashes and conflicts come from people and come from ourself. If you can remember that I am not a person, I am the divine, there are no people, there is only the divine, then this clash that comes with dealing with yourself and with dealing with people will become less. And remembering that a piece of cake is divine will be easy if you can remember that the person who's irritating you, if you are successful at remembering that the person who is irritating you is divine. Right? So, come back to that idea. The main thing is remembering. And that's what we have our mantra for. What does our mantra say? Our mantra says, I am not a person. I am the absolute consciousness. And what does our guru mantra say? Our guru mantra says, these are not people. They are the divine consciousness. That's the basic idea of it. So, just remembering that. And the reason that we don't get a clear experience of that is because we are so bad at remembering it. We sit down and we do some work, we forget to say our guru mantra, we forget to say our Ishta mantra, and then we get caught up in the duality again. All right, so not searching, remembering. I hope you found that useful and interesting. Thanks for joining. Have a lovely week. Namaskar.